When people, including me, talk about hiking to the summit of, say, a 10,000 foot mountain, of course, most of the time we started from something like 3,000 or 4,000 feet. So it kind of feels a little bit like cheating to say we've got to 10,000. And that's, of course, because most mountains have high ground already surrounding them. But that's not the case here on Tenerife. The peak, the mountain of Mount Teide, a volcano, sprouts directly from the Atlantic Ocean, which means I can start here quite literally at sea level on the beach and hopefully over the next 4 days reach the summit. Now there are a few challenges, no guarantee I'm going to get there, and we'll talk about some of those challenges en route. The first challenge is how to get out of the urban sprawl of the coastal resorts and over the motorway to actually reach the trail network further up the mountain. So after about 300 metres of elevation and well over an hour's walking, I finally left the tarmac streets behind. And what a path. I mean, just look at these cacti. Just in case you've been looking at that peak on the right thinking that's the summit, that's not. That's Roque Moque, which is less than a third of the height of the summit. And the path is going to go up on the col between that and the similar height peak on the left. And a light rain has just started as I'm nearing the cloud base, which is actually quite refreshing. So no problems at all with that. So onwards and upwards. The trees around here are growing out of lava that was laid down a very, very long time ago, but clearly there's been fire since, looking at the number of blackened tree trunks around. Just approaching about a mile above sea level, and the terrain now is very much one of conifers. The cacti are long gone, and just really sort of in the bottoms of the cloud now, so it's actually getting kind of cool. So it's the start of my second day, continuing up the mountain. I left the village or town of Villafort just a few minutes ago, and today's route will take me up to the caldera. So at the moment I've been below the rim of the caldera, so I've not actually seen the summit. A lot of cloud in the way, but even without, the caldera gets in the way. So hopefully a bit later on we'll see that. One of the other challenges that I faced planning and taking this hike is dealing with the cull or control restrictions for the mouflon, the bighorn sheep that are an invasive species here on the island. They close various sectors outside and inside the national park on quite a few days in both spring and autumn. The area I'm about to enter was actually closed yesterday, May the 23rd, it's the 24th today, but when I get to the national park, the boundary there, from there up to where I'm staying tonight, is actually closed right now, and that doesn't open until 2 p.m. today. So I'm timing my walk to reach that boundary just after 2 p.m. For half of yesterday and the first hour today, I've been following the GR131 path. This is a major route that goes through most of the Canary Islands, but at the moment I'm more interested in heading to the Paisaje Luna, the lunar landscape, which requires me to take a bit of diversion off that path. So I'm going to head this way and see what I can find. So here we have one of the viewpoints that looks over the lunar landscape, so let's take a look. So I've reached the next viewpoint looking over the lunar landscape, and again, not much to see with the cloud at the moment. So let's have a look and see what the information board says. Oh. So this is what I couldn't see from the viewpoint, but having come down a fairly rough little path, getting an up-close view. It's a bit cloudy, but yeah, some pretty impressive rock formations here. Continuing upwards towards the caldera, this path follows quite a lengthy but moderately steep path walking over volcanic Peakon. The path's continuing up and it's going over a few hills, I guess, or mounds of ash, volcanic ash. And around here it's just so bleak, there's hardly any plants at all. There's the odd one here and there, but nothing of any size, no trees, no big bushes, nothing at all. So onwards. That sign facing down on the ground over there is warning of the restrictions for the mouflon hunting. So I'm not allowed to pass that point until 2 o'clock, which is what I was planning for. I've got a few minutes to wait. I did hear a gunshot nearly an hour ago, so there is actually hunting taking place. I'm not going to take any chances. So as soon as it gets to 2, I'm going to carry on, and I'm going to let the national park know that their sign is not really providing much useful function at the moment. I'm just coming up to the highest point on today's walk at around 2,400 metres, and then there's about a 400 metre descent then down to into the caldera itself, to where I'm staying tonight. So I may end up going back into clouds, I don't know yet. Once I get to this ridge we'll have a look and see what it looks like the other side. Alright, so there we go. This is my first real look at the summit of Mount Teide since I saw it from the flight in a couple of days ago. The cloud is briefly cleared from the caldera. We can see it's creeping back in again now. So I've just been able to have a good look over the caldera and up the side of the volcano itself. So onwards down to the caldera now. Good morning, it's day 3 of my walk to the summit of Mount Teide in Tenerife, and it's an absolutely gorgeous morning here in the caldera. Hardly any wind at all, at least down here. The cable car that runs almost to the summit is actually closed at the moment because of the high winds at the summit, and that's supposed to be my way down this afternoon. They're expecting to open mid-morning, so hopefully I'll be able to come back down by cable car. But if not, I need to also be prepared to be able to hike all the way back down again. So let's continue. I've got to go down a bit into the crater actually before I go up. So it's going to be quite a long walk today. So let's get going. So if we have a look here at the profile of the route, the elevation profile of the route on the map, we can see that the app here is shaded in the profile red or amber depending on how steep it is, red being the steepest. And I've had a bit of red the last couple of days, but you can see today's route is almost entirely red, so it's going to be a steep one. I think these boulders, which are probably about 4 meters in diameter, are lava bombs which would have been ejected from the volcano in a previous eruption high into the sky to then come raining down to the ground. That's the crater of Pico Viejo behind me, and I've just passed 3,000 meters elevation. That's about 10,000 feet. And this is a good time to talk about one of the other challenges in undertaking a hike like this, which is the thin air and elevation. 10,000 feet is often considered the height above which it becomes harder to breathe, or just because there's less air in every lungful, or less oxygen rather in every lungful of air you take. Now I've been lucky that because I've come up slowly over 2.5 days so far, I've been able to acclimatise. Everyone who's come up on a coach from the coastal resorts and taken the cable car up to the summit will not have done so, so they'll probably be finding it actually harder than me, even though I'm doing a lot of walking. And also the fact that I've left most of my stuff in the hotel, so my pack is very light, is making things easier. But still, it's an area to be mindful, make sure I take good deep breaths, take it slowly, and make sure I safely get to the top. And this is the crater of Pico Viejo, and it's really quite spectacular. The colours of the rock are just incredible. They're absolutely amazing to see this. And from here, my route will take me down into the col between the two summits, and then up towards the summit of Mount Teide itself. And you can see the lava flows there, very black, very rough. Quite impressed that somehow someone's carved a path through there. So we'll see how that goes in a few minutes' time. So let's talk about why I'm not going to be reaching the summit of Mount Teide today. It's not for any reason of, I can't make it or any physical reason. It's actually to do with the permit system. So they only allow 200 people to the summit every day, which is not really surprising. It's a small area, quite fragile, and with coach loads of tourists taking the cable car up every day, it would soon become very poor condition. Now, my permit is for tomorrow. Now, what I didn't know when I booked the permit was that this path, what I'm on right now, will also be closed tomorrow. So unfortunately today I get to go as far as the cable car base station and then have to get the cable car back up again tomorrow just to do the last 200 metres. So that's what's going on there. And the reason for the closure is the same as we saw yesterday. It's for the sheep cull. It may not come over too well in two-dimensional video, but this is one hell of a steep climb. This is basically like walking upstairs on lava. And up there's the path to the summit. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that'll be me tomorrow. It's day 4 and I'm on my way back to the cable car so I can go back up to the top to finish the last 30 minutes to the summit that I couldn't do yesterday. Well, the cable car took me up through the cloud, and at the moment the summit is clear, although every now and again a cloud does blow through between me and the summit. My permit's in about 35 minutes, so hopefully conditions will remain pretty decent until then. I've just had my permit check, so I'm one of the lucky 200 people that get to go to the summit today. So just start to make my way up now. The cloud has just cleared, so let's see what it's like when I get to the top. So just a few metres from the summit now, on the edge of the crater, and the crater's a lot smaller than I was expecting. It's certainly nothing like what I saw yesterday at Pico Viejo. So let's carry on to the summit and see what it looks like from up there. We've got another fumarole on the side of the path here, and that's really quite warm air / gas coming out of that. I'm not going to breathe that in, that's probably quite nasty. And at the summit now, after about 40 miles, 64 kilometres of walking over 3 and a bit days, about 18 hours of actual walking time, about 5,000 metres of climb, a bit of down as well. I'm actually at 3,715 metres now, that's over 12,000 feet, so a pretty good walk, very happy with that.